Shakeups in your daily interactions can be certainly possible with the letter that's sent in the mail delivered back to the people. They know the way, and they know the houses, the streets, the towns, the communities, the civilizations, everything that they need to know about in order to better their lives and make their lives in a different way than it is currently. And that's certainly something that a lot of people are desiring right now, is that their lives are more abundant than they would otherwise be. And I'm certainly one of those people. I certainly feel like my life is tainted and distorted, and like my life is filled with a lot of lack and guilt. And I think that the Saturn and Pisces transit is really shaking up the need for spirituality. And it's making people question, am I really committed to spirituality? Am I really serious about it, or am I just talking about it? Saturn in Pisces is responsible for bringing people down to their knees and making it so that they have no other option, no other alternative but to commit to a spiritual practice. And that's what I'm going to do. I am in such a low place with my life right now. I have done so many bad things in my life, not morally wrong, not legally wrong, not ethically wrong, but bad things. Bad things in the sense that now, today, as I look back on the past, I do not feel that good. And so these potential things are making it so that spirituality is the only option, and it is what I desperately need right now. And a lot of people are feeling the same way in the world. Saturn and Pisces can have you starting and initiating a spiritual discipline, a spiritual activity that you're doing time and time and again consistently. Journaling, meditation, breath work, yoga, qigong, um, those kinds of things, divination readings, all of it. I'm going to talk about the astrology of September 6th and 7th, beginning with the astrology for September 6th. So we have a lovely aspect going on with the moon coming into a beautiful trine with the great benefic planet Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is over here doing its thing in the sign of Gemini. It's moving through it, expanding communication, expanding teaching, learning, interactions. It's also blowing up social media. So Jupiter's doing a lot of things in Gemini, especially because it's still close to that Saturn in Pisces. And so there's still the restriction and discipline and hope, but the action needs to be put in type of feeling in there. And the moon is in the sign of Libra still. So, the moon's in Libra. Jupiter is in Gemini. So, this can represent emotional growth and self-understanding. These are two possibilities. Another possibility is the good things, the great things, the wonderful things, the fantastic things, the positive things in your life can be blown up and expanded, where you're noticing positive things, you're noticing synchronicities, you're noticing the omens, you're seeing all the good things about your life just by looking around you. You're seeing the beautiful leaves on the tree that you look at as you look out the window. You're seeing the comfortable bed that you sleep in. You see the food on the table. You see the man who comes home that brings in the bacon. All of these things that are that give you a greater sense of faith and hope about your life. This is also an opportune energy for socializing, for meeting people, for having conversations. This can also make you feel creative and imaginative and also intuitive. So utilizing those three things can be super pleasant at this time. Any kind of spiritual practice, that's great to do at this time. I ordered a journal from Colette Baron Reed, who is a spiritual teacher and author of many best-selling oracle decks, including Wisdom of the Oracle, The Enchanted Map, my favorite of which is Spirit Animal Oracle. the Mystical Shaman Oracle. There's so many different oracle decks that she created. And she has a journal on journaling. You pull a card, an oracle card, and then you journal about it. And so I've ordered that. It is supposed to come on Saturday, and I'm very, very excited to get it because it will motivate me to really get into the spiritual practices. Because as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have been feeling pretty down and hopeless lately. And the only way out of that is through spirituality. The only outlet that I really truly have is spirituality at this point in my life. It's as if I was meant to delete all of these things in order to get to a place where there would be no choice but for me to commit to walking down a spiritual path. And I've just started walking down that path. But there's definitely more that I could be doing when it comes to walking down that path. And I know that deeply. So, um, any kind of spiritual practice, wonderful to do at this time. Emotional comfort and support from family members and loved ones can come about so you can feel more comfortable and supportive from them. You can feel more generous. You can feel more expansive. You feel more open-hearted and loving and genuinely caring for other people. This is an energy which talks about your heart as your focal point, your heart as your home center, your radiant light center where you're just beaming that energy out into the world. And your heart center is the place where you have the most power. It is your source of center. It is the part of you that loves unconditionally, that loves and accepts people for who they are. It is that part that gives. It is that part that is passionate, that is unruly. The heart is unruly. So open-heartedness can come about at this time as well. You can also feel a greater sense of empathy and compassion towards others, and others can feel the same about you. This is a good energy for inspiring other people to act from a place of kindness and understanding, much like you are. And there also may be a heightened sense of optimism with this particular energy where you're feeling more hopeful. You're feeling like, yes, there is hope. There is hope for me, even in the darkest of situations, even in the darkest of times. Even if I've done all these things, even if I've deleted videos, deleted YouTube channels, deleted watch history of YouTube videos, deleted curiosity, deleted abundance, there's still hope. So even if you're in the darkest of places like I am, this transit can bring you some hope. And that's something to look forward to at this time. It's something to just notice that hopeful, optimistic energy that you may or may not feel at this time. But this is about not necessarily feeling and resonating with the energies, but considering these energies and knowing how to work with them. More on that later anyway. But it gets confusing because there could be the moon aspecting Jupiter, there could be the moon aspecting Mercury, there could be the moon aspecting Venus. It's a lot to digest. That's where the oracle cards come in. Um, so I really want these videos to be helpful and informative and something that you can refer back to. Um, and you can listen to the astrology out of interest to understand what is going on, but you can certainly bypass this and skip to the oracle reading. Because in the oracle reading, it tells you this is how to work with the energies. So, another aspect that we have going on is the moon sextiling Mercury and Leo. So the moon is in Libra and Mercury is in Leo. This puts you in the mood for communicating and talking with people. This puts you in the mood to have conversations with people. This could be great for talking about issues about your life or with friends or family members, talking about certain problems that you have emotionally, talking about that black car in the driveway, talking about that black house in the neighborhood, talking about those sort of under the rug type things, which need to be brought up to heal at this particular time. So if there's any issue that you've been stuffing down, that you've been avoiding talking about, that you've been avoiding dealing with, that you've been avoiding discussing, whatever it is, if you've been putting that off, now's the time where those things might come up. Now's the time where you may need to have conversations about those particular issues. Other people might come to you for sharing their feelings. Oh, I'm not astrophysicist. Others might come to you to share their feelings, so be open and receptive to those people and try to understand where they're coming from. Try to understand what their viewpoint is, um, and what they're all about, what they're saying, what they're feeling, processing that, opening up to that, considering that. If you have any activity that involves that you have to write or you want to write, writing can be super productive at this time. You may also feel sentimental at this time as well. This is a great time to either verbalize or write down your feelings. Find a way of communicating your feelings, because that can prove to be helpful to express your feelings, to write it down, and get those things off your chest. Those things can be very healing at this time. There can be fluidity between your inner world and outer expression. You want to make sure you're being your true self and speaking from your heart. Mercury is in Leo. It's all about speaking from the heart, speaking with confidence, speaking with self-will and assurance. You're speaking with a sort of air of individuality. So you're speaking your truth, basically. This is great for chatting with friends, releasing any limitations that you have when it comes to expressing your thoughts. Something to ask yourself at this time is your voice a true reflection of your inner world or not? Is what you're saying true for you or not? Is what you're asking true for you or not? Is what you're asking something that you truly want to know? That kind of thing. I did pull oracle cards, and I felt really called today to draw oracle cards from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms Oracle by Colin Baron Reid. Um, and there's a fly on my computer, so let me just get that off and be right back because I need to wind it again. Sorry about that. So, I pulled a card from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. So, the card that I pulled is card number 38, the Keeper of the Scales. So all of these cards are different people and different guides and different helpers. This deck should be called Guides of the Hidden Realms. I don't know why it's called Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. So this card is the Keeper of the Scales. So the keywords on this card are fairness and balance. So this is about really sitting with and thinking about what in your life is out of balance, whatever it is. Is it grass? Is it a wall? Is it a painting? Is it a cooking utensil? Is it a dish? Is it a person? Is it a relationship that you have? Whatever is out of balance, whatever you're doing, are you doing too much of this? Or are you not doing enough of that? Are you focused on hedge funds? Are you too focused on inheritances? Are you too focused on banks and governments? And you're not focused on your own income, your own money, your own values, your own talents, your own paychecks that you receive. So figuring out where you're overdoing something in your life and where you're not doing enough of that thing. So what we want to do is we want to activate and we want to increase and bring up like a balloon the things that you're not doing enough of. This is about raising those things up. This is about putting more of your focus and attention on those things specifically. This talks about making conscious choices in your life that create balance in your environment, in your house, in your community. So are the decisions you're making going to put you at a greater peace of balance, or are they going to make you feel out of balance? That's something to consider here. Know that you don't have to verbatim follow these messages. Just be open to consider them. Just be available to consider them and thinking about them. And that may also affect when you're thinking about them. You may actually follow them because you're considering them. Living from the inside out. This is really, really important. Not letting other people, pull you down or whatever, but coming from a place of peaceful, calm, loving, stable, secure power within yourself. And then moving about your life in that peaceful state of power. Maybe having rolling mantras in your mind throughout the day. Like, I'm welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. And you're just saying that over and over and over and over. And, for those of you who find it helpful and beneficial, that can certainly work. Maybe pulling oracle cards gives you advice that you can think about and you can have that sense of power. Like, this is for my consideration. And I'm, acting from this place of higher knowing, higher being, higher peace, your higher self, that kind of thing. And so this is also talking about balancing your life by nurturing yourself, showing that you love yourself. Do the things in your life that show that you care about yourself, that you show that you find that you're important, that you're special, that you are worthy of love. Do those things. This is also talking about taking responsibility for your life and your actions. There can also be fair resolutions in disputes. If there's any dispute or conflict, find a diplomatic way of approaching that and find a diplomatic way of resolving that as well. So that may be something for your contemplation as well. Moving on to September 7th, the very, very first aspect that we have going on is the moon in Scorpio squaring Pluto. Wait a second. The moon, when it hits 29 degrees of Libra, it will square Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So Pluto's just moved back into Capricorn. It's going to be there for a couple more months until the 19th of November when it just moves into Aquarius and it will never return into Capricorn again for over 200 years. So this is the very, very, very last time we're ever going to experience Pluto and Capricorn in our entire lives. So it's best to take advantage while the going is still as it is. It's sort of a tying up list and sort of a wrap up of that Capricorn area of your chart and the transformations and the death rebirth cycle that have been going on in that area of your chart. This aspect is all about letting intense emotions out of your system. This may be very, very healing at this time. Is it through Qigong? Is it through talk therapy? Is it through hot breath doing? Is it through clay breaking? Is it through taking your hand and breaking a board and smashing it into pieces? Whatever lets those intense emotions, because with the moon square Pluto, your emotions are so thick, are so strong, that it's almost like there's not enough of a way to express them because they're so intense. They're so palpable, they're so powerful. And so it's important not to bottle those things in, because actually repressing your feelings and not feeling them, not allowing yourself to feel them, not moving through them, is a sign of emotional immaturity. Feeling them, moving through them, sitting with them, integrating them, is a sign that you're growing on an emotional level. And so that's what Pluto is sort of bringing into the mix. And when you move through those deep, intense emotions, when you allow yourself to feel and express your emotions, what comes after that? You're breathing a sigh of fresh air. You've arrived at peace, basically. You've arrived at the Garden of Venus. So that's something to consider. There may also be power struggles that are emotional, that involve partners or family members, so there may be arguments like that going on. There may be things like jealousy, manipulation, or negative aspects of relationships. They can be heightened at this time. Domestic violence is another thing. This is also great for eliminating any habit pattern that is bad for you, that's not for your highest good, that doesn't help you, that doesn't heal you, that doesn't work for you in your life. Whatever the habit pattern is. Is it walking too far up a hill? Is it eating too many carbs? Is it forgetting to brush your teeth at night before you go to bed? Whatever the bad habit is, now's the time to recognize it and take the small action steps to break it. There could be transformations of your emotions and relationships at this time. There could be uncontrolled impulses that have led to self-destructive habit patterns. So things that you do without thinking about them twice that are self-destructive. Breaking off a bike leg, for example. Ruining the grass is another example. Falling on cement pavement. Not looking where there's cracks in the sidewalk. There is a need here to control, to have absolute control over occurrences in your life, but the key here is to let go of control. Manipulative behaviors can be exposed, and there can be healing with regards to this on a deep level. Another aspect that is going on this particular day is Mercury will come into a square with Uranus. Uranus. This can create excitement in your change and in your daily interactions. Now, keep in mind, this is the third time that Mercury is squaring Uranus, because it squared it once, it squared it twice when it was retrograde, it's squaring it again. So this can bring unexpected events that force you to change plans. Any negative Uranus aspect is like you're going along, everything's fine, you're going along the road, and then you hit a bump, and then another bump, and then another bump. Uranus, what it's trying to do is it's trying to disrupt the stability and the continual flow of inevitable, mundane things are going as they should be. Uranus wants to bring changes. Uranus wants to put a sledgehammer into that and break that up. Uranus wants you to get out of your comfort zone, wants you to expand yourself, wants you to liberate yourself. And so there could be these things that happen that forces you to change the plans that you've set out to make. You also may feel more distracted and less responsible or dependable at this time. As Uranus is a very like, it's not good to be hyped up on caffeine at this time. So if you're having coffee, I'd recommend doing decaf coffee. Um, because with this energy, the very last thing that you need is more jitters. Anything that gives you a jitter, nervous energy like this. In conversations, someone may miss valuable information or the wrong thing could be said, so make sure that you're being very, very clear and to the point and very precise and very direct about what you're saying and the words that you say so that the people can understand what you're saying. This can lead to seeing things from a different perspective, seeing things from a higher view. This could also lead to original ideas, so it's great now to try out those original ideas and experiment with those ideas. The important thing here is to think before you speak at this time. That's something huge. Um, And also, if you have a know-it-all attitude when it comes to your communication, when it comes to your knowledge and your intellect and your intelligence, now this time to break away from that and humble yourself, basically. Have a slice of humble pie. The second card that I pulled for, the second card that I pulled, this card I pulled for September 7th, 2024, where I asked the question, what does the collective have to know about September 7th? And I got the card, the Queen of the Light. Isn't that a gorgeous card? Donatella Bertaglia is a wonderful artist. The unfortunate thing is that her art is sort of tainted by the borders on these cards. But anyway, they're still good. So the key words on this card, this is card number 15. This is illumination, enlightenment, and celebration. So you may find that you're very successful in all avenues of life. You may feel very successful. Now is the time to recognize what you've done, recognize your achievements, recognize your meters up, and celebrate those things. Acknowledge those things. But then also feel good about your accomplishments and the things that you've done. Know that you are brilliant. So the Lady of the Light is really illuminating the steps in your path, the journey markers, and the lessons that you have to learn along that journey in order to become the person that you are today, in order to climb up to the top of the mountain. You've climbed this rock, that rock, that rock. So that kind of thing. Know that all your needs will be met. That's the other thing here. Your needs will be met. Um, The Queen also brings you insight into how you manifest your reality. So thinking about how do you want to manifest your reality? What are the action steps that you want to do in order to create the reality that you want, desire? You will be shown the next right action, so pay attention because you will be shown the next right action by someone in your life or there's a situation at hand, but you will intuitively know the next right action to take, basically. Now's the time to shine in the spotlight of your life. Celebrate your life. Celebrate who you are. This is a very leonine card. Um, and again, you've worked very, very hard. Now's the time to celebrate your accomplishments. This is what this is about. Alright, everybody, that is your Oracle reading and astrology forecast for September 6th and 7th. Let me know what you like about this video down in the comment section below. I would really like to see your comments and what you enjoyed about this video. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you will not miss future upload videos from me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.